We built Klaviyo flows for over 100 e-commerce businesses around the world, and those flows have generated over $20 million in sales. Now, almost all of that $20 million came from just 6 email flows. Now, here's the thing. People overcomplicate flows and think they need 15 or 20 flows to run a good Klaviyo account. But that's just not true. Agencies overcomplicate this stuff because then they can charge you more money to set it up. But in reality, if you look at your revenue numbers, 6 of the flows do most of the heavy lifting in terms of revenue. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna break down exactly what these 6 flows are and show you how to structure it, as well as what to send in these flows to maximize revenue. If email isn't making up at least 30 to 40% of your total store revenue, I guarantee you're messing up at least one of these flows. So make sure you pay attention till the end. Now, first up is the welcome flow. This is the flow that triggers right when someone signs up to your pop-up on your website. Now, you might be offering a discount or a free gift with purchase and incentive to get people to sign up and give you their email. But what you need to know is the welcome flow is the most important flow, because when they give you their email is when they will be most interested in your brand. Statistically, people on your newsletter are most likely to purchase as soon as they join your newsletter, and that probability only decreases the longer they stay on your list. So you must nail this flow. And where brands go wrong is they only send 1 or 2 emails in their welcome flow, which is just not okay. As a minimum, you need 5 or 6 emails in your welcome flow, and if the last email of the flow converts, well, then you can even add more emails to your welcome flow. First email, we send it immediately, and we just re-emphasize the discount code that they signed up for. Make the email as simple as possible, just focus on the deal and make it as easy as possible for them to go back to your website and utilize that discount. Now, this will be the highest converting email in your Klaviyo account. So if someone doesn't open this email, you can set a trigger to resend it after 3 or 4 hours, or just changing the subject line to remind them of the discount they signed up for and to use it before it runs out. It might seem a bit aggressive, but like I said, this is the most interested someone will ever be in your business, so we want to capitalize on this. Then 1 day later, we want to send a plain text message from the founder explaining who we are and why we started the business, etc. Really good at building trust and making it seem personal. Third email, which you send 1 day after that, is social proof. So reviews or testimonials or whatever else you can share that show people enjoying your product. And 1 day after that, we send an us versus them email, and this is just comparing your product to competitors and what features you offer that make you superior. Email 5 is just addressing common objections that people might have before they purchase. Like, for example, will the product fit? Will it smell nice? Is there a guarantee, etc. And then the last email could just be the discount one more time and telling people that it's about to run out. So just quick side note, if this all feels like a bit too much, my team can build this for you in 2 weeks. I've done this for over 100 brands, and because it's an automation that runs forever after it's been set up, it is the single highest ROI investment that you can make into your business. If you're interested in that, you can click below to speak directly to me and see if we can help. Now on to the next flow, which is the abandoned cart flow. And this triggers when someone clicks add to cart on your website, but doesn't go to the checkout page. Now, one thing I've noticed from auditing hundreds of Klaviyo accounts is that 80% of businesses don't even have this flow set up correctly. They think they have an abandoned cart flow, but it's actually a checkout started flow. And you can check this by going into your Klaviyo, looking at your abandoned cart flow and making sure that the metric underneath is not checkout started, but added to cart. If it says checkout started, you don't have an added to cart flow, you have a checkout started flow, which is the next flow I'm gonna cover. The added to cart metric happens 1 step before people reach checkout and sends them a follow-up to get them to go to checkout and purchase. Now, we structure this flow with 4 emails. First one, we send 2 hours after they abandoned cart, and it's just a simple reminder, hey, we saw you were looking at this product, here's a link for you to go back and complete your purchase. Now, email 2 comes 1 day after that, and it just handles some objections that people have normally when thinking about buying your product. Now, common objections are usually related to shipping or payment method, but it can also be objections related to your product, like how do I know the product's gonna fit? What ingredients are in the product? Is it quality? Etc. Then for email 3, we send a bit more social proof, and again, this is reviews, testimonials, and anything else you can show people getting success with your product. And then the last email, we send 1 day later, and this time with a discount after we've tried everything else to get them over the line. The next flow after this is the abandoned checkout flow. And in a lot of ways, it's very similar to the added to cart flow, but it just happens 1 step after the added to cart when someone goes to the checkout page and starts typing in their email address. Now, these people have slightly higher intent than the people that abandon at the added to cart stage. So the content is similar to the added to cart flow. However, you want to focus a little bit more on logistics. You want to focus more on the payment options, the shipping times, and if you have guarantees, now's the time to start sharing it. Structure and timing of this flow are basically exactly the same as the added to cart, but just emphasize shipping and logistics a bit more in terms of the content. Whereas for the added to cart flow, you want to focus a bit more on product related objections. Now, the 4th flow is the browse abandonment flow. And this is the flow that triggers when someone views a product on your website, but doesn't add it to cart or go to checkout. Now, this will be one of your highest volume flows because you will have so many people that are browsing products on your site that do not add to cart or go to checkout. Now the strategy for this flow is a soft nudge. You don't want to be that aggressive because these people haven't shown that much interest in your products yet. So we generally just send 2 to 3 emails in this flow. First one is, hey, we saw you're looking at this item. We've just set it aside for you to complete your order. Please come back and complete your purchase. Otherwise, someone's gonna come and snap it up. For email 2, you wanna highlight your main collections or your main categories that you sell outside of the product that they just looked at. And the reason for this is because if that item wasn't attractive enough to add to cart, they might find interest in your other offerings. Now for email 3 and 4, you can offer a discount. However, I generally don't recommend doing this because you wanna save your margin for people that actually show some level of buying intent. Now the 5th flow is the post-purchase flow. And in my opinion, this is the most important flow in your entire business. The reason it's so important is because immediately after someone purchases anything online, there's a small voice in their head that's going, oh my God, did I just make a bad decision? I just spent money, I don't know when it's gonna arrive, should I trust this company, etc. And your job is to put a stop to all of those thoughts with your post-purchase flow. Because if that voice is left unchecked, well then people might initiate chargebacks, they might leave bad reviews, and that's all stuff we want to avoid. Now we structure this flow to add value to the customer between when they place the order and when their product arrives. So email 1, send it immediately after they've placed an order with you and let them know that you're in the process of packaging the order and shipping it out. Don't just use the normal Shopify receipt. Email 2, which you could send a couple hours later, invites them to join your social community on Instagram or Facebook, etc. so they can see that your brand is real. Then for email 3, you want to make it a little bit more educational. So for example, if you sell clothing, you want to send an email with styling tips. If you sell food, you want to send an email with some sort of recipes that they could use. Sell fragrances, you want to sell tips for where they should spray the perfumes. The goal here is to send value so they have a better experience with the product when it arrives. Now, by giving value first, you earn yourself the right to ask for a review or ask for an upsell after the product arrives. So for email 4 and 5, and you want to set the trigger to send 10 to 14 days after people have placed an order, because that's when the item's actually going to arrive, you can send an email asking for a review or pushing different products that you want to upsell to that customer. Now the last flow I'm going to share is the active on-site flow, and this is the flow that triggers when someone is on your website but doesn't click on any particular product. This flow is a bit of a safety net for people that are slipping through the cracks of other flows, and it does show a slightly lower buying intent because they haven't actually clicked on anything. However, anytime anyone is active on our website, they're probably going to start getting ads from competitors, so we want to use this flow as a chance to follow up with them after they leave our site. In terms of messaging, position this like a helpful shop assistant, helping someone find the best product. That's going to help them with their needs. So for the first email, just position it as, do you need a hand? And just show your most popular categories or your most popular pains that you help with. And then for email 2, make recommendations of specific products that your customers are generally interested in. And that's all the flows. Chances are, if you're missing one of these, you're losing easy revenue. Now, I've broken down the strategy in this video, but the execution takes quite a bit of time to do it well. So if you're a business that does over $30,000 a month in sales on Shopify and want my team to build and manage these flows for you, you can book in a call, the link below, to speak directly to me and see if we can help. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.